Go. Practice compassion to help yourself. If you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion. I believe that's close to a quote from the 14th Dalai Lama. Anyway, I sent a text to one of my kids a few days ago for encouragement. And I shared an experience that I had several years ago, probably 10 years or more at this point. But anyway, it began with me trying to understand compassion. I'm a numbers guy, CPA, business, that kind of a thing. So I tend to boil things down to dollars and cents numbers, profit or loss, so to speak. So I was wrestling with compassion. How do I increase compassion? So I went through prayer, study, and those kinds of things. And one day, traveling up the highway on my way home, and this was a part of the text that I shared, so I just share a bit of the story. I was traveling up what was then the 14 freeway. I believe it was an off-ramp via Princessa, before Acton, Santa Clarita. I got off to get me a donut. I believe that was a Yum Yum donut shop. Got off to get me a donut. I just finished at a client on my way home, probably have another hour left. Got out, pulled into the parking lot, and I saw this woman. And she was a bit scraggly, homeless. This is in Southern California, outside of LA, Antelope Valley. Well, right before there. But anyway, Southern California, right outside, northeast of Los Angeles. And on my way home, and I saw the woman and I wanted to avoid her. I didn't want to be bothered with anybody asking me for any money. So I effectively invaded her because she was asking a woman who was getting her couple of kids out for karate or kung fu class in a little shopping center. So I scooted on up in there and got me a donut and a cup of coffee. And on my way back out, I was able to still avoid her. I avoided that woman. I got in the car, and before I could back out, I felt guilty. So in my own, self-righteousness, I decided, okay, well, let me go ahead and give to this woman. So I opened the door, got out of the car, looked for her, and went over and handed her, a few bills that were in my pocket at the time. So I pulled out of the parking lot after that, and I made the right-hand turn out of the parking lot. You have to go into the far left-hand turn lane. So I changed lanes, and made my left-hand turn to get onto the 14 freeway. Once I made the left-hand turn and was on the freeway on-ramp, I went out, and before I know it, I was hovering above the parking lot. And one of those out-of-body experiences. I'd have to talk to you a little bit about my belief system, but I had a really weird experience. That was the first time and last time that's ever happened, but I was, in my mind, I guess, hovering above the parking lot, and I was looking down, and I saw that woman. Now that she was white, I want to say probably 35, 40-ish, older. She had jeans on, loose-fitting, sort of soiled, maybe. She didn't look all that well put together. But as I was watching that woman from as if I were hovering above, I could see all the activity in the parking lot. And as I'm looking at the activity in the parking lot and I'm watching that woman, she turned into my daughter, who was at the time probably around 13 years old. And I saw my daughter pulling up her, trying to keep her pants, kind of scraggly looking. And I remember looking down on her, and I'd see all the people in the parking lot, the cars driving by, people doing this, people doing that. And I just remember, because I'm up here, I couldn't go down to do anything myself. And I remember just feeling, somebody please help her. That's my baby girl. That's my little girl. Please, I mean, I'm a CPA. I've got a business, a couple. I've got, money. I'll reimburse you. I mean, I can't do it. I'm not there. But if anyone could help my daughter, I mean, I'll pay you double whatever you spend. Just help her. I mean, as I love her. And I remember just feeling sort of that feeling. And the craziest thing happened. I sort of snapped to. And I was already on the freeway. Driving, I hadn't wrecked anything. I believe I went out sometime shortly after I made that left-hand turn to go onto the freeway. I remember making the turn, and then I just sort of blanked out. And I was up the road maybe about a quarter mile in the right-hand lane on the highway moving forward. And tears came to my eye. I just started sort of crying. And I had my answer to the prayer of compassion, because it was as if she were my daughter. And I felt guilty because I could have done more to help her. I gave out of what I had without inconveniencing myself. And that sort of opened it opened my eyes, because I wanted to see it how my God sees it. Like how do you view it, Lord? Compassion for others. Loving my own, taking care of my own, that's relatively easy. Well, not always easy, but it comes natural. Your children, your wife, your sisters, brothers, mothers, fathers. But to look at someone who you don't know and to have genuine compassion and to maybe see them how my God might see them, that's what I wanted to see. And that's what I saw in that little experience. As an auditor, CPA, financial statement auditor, I'm not a tax CPA, financial statement auditor. In my profession, I learned that an audit is a commodity, but what my clients really want, what their need is to have their reporting issues go away. I mean, nobody ever wants an audit because they want it. It's imposed upon them by a regulatory authority, the bank, or some external entity that they're doing business or being regulated by, or in agreement or partnership with. So there's a requirement. So it's a commodity to them. But what they truly want is to satisfy the requirement so that they can continue to do business. So just as a practical takeaway, I know from a practical standpoint in business, focusing on what my clients truly need, which isn't the audit. A lot of times I tell people, I sell security, risk mitigation. A good night's sleep is ultimately what I sell, but I sell it through an audit product or a consulting product. But it comes by understanding or placing myself in their shoes and trying to have compassion. And oftentimes these are very wealthy people. And sometimes one might not believe that you should have compassion for those who can pretty much maybe write a check for anything. But in my profession, I have to even have compassion and understand the needs of my own clients, put myself in their shoes, empathy. Compassion affords empathy, I think. But anyways, that was just a little short bit of encouragement, if you will, to practice compassion, to help yourself. Fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the holy is understanding. So to understand, to place yourself in another's shoes and to attempt to understand what they might be going through, affords you the opportunity to have compassion and then practice it. Real quick, another quote. If your compassion does not include yourself, it is incomplete. I believe that's attributed to a Buddha, or maybe the first Buddha, not sure. But before you can love anyone else, you first must love yourself. So practice compassion to help yourself. And it's just a bit of encouragement. I had to make a YouTube video today. So that little text message and this little message of encouragement to practice compassion to help yourself is pretty much my message of the day. And I've done what I came here to do. Thank you very much if you stuck through it. And goodbye.